In the United States, choral singing isn't just a concert tradition, it's a community tradition. Across the country, millions of Americans sing in schools choirs, church choirs, community ensembles, and university groups. In fact, choir is often considered the most popular performing art activity in the United States. Unlike places such as Russia, where choral music is closely tied to conservatories and professional state ensembles, the American model is deeply grassroots. It lives in the classrooms, sanctuaries, and neighborhood rehearsal halls. In cities like Houston, that means hundreds, no, thousands of choirs across schools, churches, community groups. From university programs at Rice University to professional ensembles like the Houston Chamber Choir. Choir in America isn't a niche. It's a weaving into everyday's life. Marianna, very nice to meet you today. Thank you so much for your time. We wanted to talk about what you've built here in Houston, Treble Choir. Could you please tell us about how did you start? How was the choir born?
In 2000, I was actually employed to teach choir program at Parker Elementary School, which is a Houston magnet music school. And it's a public school, but it had full music faculty on the staff. It's a very unique school because we had 9 professional musicians on the faculty. And all of it included over 900 children age 4 to 11 that were part of this music. And the music was taught during the school day. Like, it could be 10 o'clock to be 11. Everybody had a schedule, and there were private lessons too. And I was hired to be a director of the choir program that just started. So I had 30 children, and I taught general music. So I was a full-time teacher. Every day was a music class of some sort. And I built choir program that grew from 330 to 270 children. And that was what I was doing for 25 years. Mm-hmm. My husband, Robert, is a musician himself, a great musician. He is a choir director. He works with adults. And his first job in Houston was director of music at Christ Church Cathedral. It's an Episcopal cathedral in downtown. He was a director, and one of these days he asked me if I could establish the choir in the church. So that happened in 2006. And gradually, the choir grew about 40, from 30 to 40 every year. And it grew from the children's choir to the girls' choir at some point. Actually, I'm from Ukraine. I grew up in Ukraine, a wonderful town called Chernivtsi. But I was educated in Leningrad, which now is Saint Petersburg. My very first choir in Saint Petersburg was a girls' choir called Kamerton. And I'm happy to have continued that tradition here because I think I have something to say to the girls, something special.
If I would have a girl, how would I bring my girl to the choir? Is it an audition I need to go through, or she needs to go through?
Yes, we have a website. It's treblechoir.com. And there is a button you could click, join us, and it will prompt you to the application. And we're receiving application and setting up the auditions.
What will spark your interest in the candidate in that application?
Just because it's a special group, we don't charge tuition. We are based on the church, Christ Church Cathedral. We're not exactly a church choir. We do sing some services in the church, but we also have have concerts everywhere in Houston and outside of Houston, and we go abroad. We sang in Carnegie Hall, so we have broader interest.
Mm-hmm.
And because the time when they rehearse is pretty limited, then we have to have a girl who has a good sense of pitch, good sense of rhythm, clear voice, and knows what to do with the printed music.
So you need to know how to read the notes.
How to read the notes, right.
Travelchoir.com and press the join button, fill up the application. I've heard that this choir is a very special one in Houston. Why do you think people perceive it that way? What is special about this choir versus any others?
We have a motto, help young women find their voice. And it could be perceived literally, like they do find the best of voice and they could sing in any group of really high standards available after they graduate. But also I believe we're helping the girls to find their power, their place in life, their confidence. And it's especially important with females singing in a group where you suddenly think, oh gosh, it's so beautiful, and I'm a part of it. And you see people who listen to you and they cry or laugh, and that's your power.
Treble Choir is like the perfect confidence and hope that any girl needs, because you go in and you meet other girls who have the same love for music as you, and then you collaborate with them, and you learn how to be confident, you learn how to have hope, and you learn how to work together. So that's the best thing you can do for a young girl.
So in your choir today, what is the average age of the singer?
They start in sixth grade, which is between 11 and 12, and they graduate when they are 18.
So you're getting like the teenager age.
We getting teenager age.
I understand the student or any human being going through that age is difficult for them because, as you said, they're trying to find themselves. They protest a lot. They trying to test the boundaries.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
My helper in this is music. We don't have time for anything. They come to me once a week on Tuesday from 5 to 7. We have a list of music and we have performances ahead of us. This is how I just established that from the first minute, and they understand.
Are you tough today?
I am tough when it comes to business, but I'm very, very kind, and they come to me and talk to me about their problems, and they know that too. There is another side of me, because we communicate outside of the rehearsal, and I had individual interaction with them. And during the rehearsal, there is room for giggling, there is room for laughter, there is room for storytelling, but it's got to be on my term. Managing the time. I have to manage the time.
Right.
But there is room for kindness, a lot of room for kindness, and especially when we're going on a trip or somewhere else.
I guess you need to be a teacher, a mentor, a psychotherapist, a girlfriend. I don't know, a party woman as well.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Yes. And every good teacher will tell you the same. If you're conducting a group of young people, you need to be everything. And in my school, I used to be the only smile sometimes. That kids, they're coming from all kinds of backgrounds, but they all have to go to public school. And if they got in a choir, we have all kinds of ranges, colors, and everything. I'm not going to quote it. It wouldn't be very modest of me. But then I'm in touch with the former girls and boys who I've taught.
Where are they?
I have a girl, Hannah Jones, who is a star and who is in a program at Metropolitan Opera. She's an opera singer who just starred in Madame Butterfly in the Met. I have John Cousin, who is an amazing jazz musician, and he making himself name in New York right now.
Wow.
Living in New York. It's great to have taught so many children who became wonderful adults. I strongly believe that everybody became a wonderful adult.
They probably did.
Yeah. This is something that makes me feel that I've done something important in life.
Well, you did. I mean, a lot of people are speaking very highly of the choir and your work. So absolutely, you did.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
I think there is a bug. There's a germ that gets
everything.
It's contagious.
It's very contagious if it's done
right.
If it's done right. It's a lot of ifs in this profession. Like in every profession, you've got to be inspiring. You've got to believe in that, and you've got to know how to how to convey your inspiration. Because
so, what is the source of your inspiration and passion? Where do you feed that?
I went to music school, and I had good teachers. I learned how to play piano. I just loved music so strongly that when I graduated from music school, I liked to sing, and I sang everywhere. When I moved to Leningrad, I was singing in a band. My first school was engineering school.
Engineering school?
Yeah, I didn't know what I wanted until 17. It was Institute of Precise Mechanic and Optic. I really graduated from institute, got master's degree in engineering, packed my diploma, sent it to my parents, and went full-time to finish my college and conservatory later on. I was lucky. I was really lucky. So then after I went to school, to the right school for me, I knew that this is mine forever. I read a book when I was probably 15 by a Russian author, Nikolai Ostrovsky. The quote from this book, I imprinted it in my brain, myself. And it says, you have to live your life. So when you look back, you wouldn't be tortured by the notion that your years were wasted. I didn't want any of my time to be wasted. I wanted to make a difference. And that's what I wanted from the very early. I did have an amazing teacher in Chernivtsi, but it wasn't in music, it was in drama. Valentina Vladimirovna Bespalotova was her name.
Mm-hmm.
There was generations and generations of teenagers went through her theater. I was an actress. If you are good at actor, or if you can be a good actor, have potential, you would act on stage. But if you're not, she'll find you a job. You would be doing costumes, or you would be stagehands, or you would be a light person. And all these bad boys from the street were destined to be bad boys when they grow up, got under her wings, and they became somebody. And we are all friends. Still friends.
Incredible.
We live in different, and a lot of professionals came out from her. And nobody forgot that you put your heart in what you do. You do everything with all your heart, passionately, whatever you do. And you love your friends, and you do that together. These two things that made me somebody, I think. And every one of us is somebody, no matter what they do in life. That was my inspiration. Later on, when I arrived to the States, it also took a village for me to actually get my profession. When I came here in 1990, I didn't speak English. And my dear friends, and I came to Atlanta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I was so miserable. I came with my daughter. My neighbor was one of my best friends from my college years.
Uh-huh.
She's the reason I came to this particular city, Atlanta, Georgia. All this apartment complex was full of Russians, and everybody spoke Russian. They told me, point blank, America doesn't need another choir director. Go and get yourself a useful professional. For example, go to be computer, like entry level.
Uh-huh.
I haven't seen a computer in my life. Go to medical profession, something that you could be employed, and you need to make money for your child. What are you thinking? What music?
Okay.
And you need
so what were you thinking?
Well, I went. I did what they suggested. I wasn't thinking. I was thinking how to survive.
So when was that pivotal moment when you learned the language and start be able to communicate?
It wasn't a moment. For language, it was gradual. So I worked at a restaurant called Arby's, which is like
Everyone knows
McDonald's.
Arby's,
Yeah, and did everything they asked me: washing floors, making buns, all kinds of work. This is one of my first jobs, and I was trying to learn how to speak. I was washing hair in the salon. I was working in a grocery store. Then I decided I have to get myself a medical profession. And
Medical.
Because I thought I'm going to help people.
Okay.
That's not enough for the profession, I must tell you. But I went to the hospital, county hospital in Atlanta, and enrolled in a program for a radiology technology. It's 2 years program for X-ray techs and for CAT scan and mammogram and this kind of thing. Somebody said to me, one of my friends, they said, "You're a singer. You can sing in any language. Why don't you find a place where people sing? For example, church. That's where people sing." And I said, okay. And I found a couple of churches. In addition to that, their choirs got in every choir. And one of the churches was the church where my present husband was a choir director. And I auditioned to his church. And he let me sit at his rehearsal. And when I watched him rehearse for the first time, I thought, wow, it's like light came up over me, because the kind of musician he was, I was taught it was real music. And I thought, yeah, that's a choir I wanna. And he was very kind to me and helpful. And in fact, I didn't have a car, So he gave me the ride so I could make it to rehearsals. And so that helped.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's another story. But he was
also a source of your inspiration.
He was continuously my inspiration for 30 years, 35. I even became a better singer just to singing in his choirs. I was part of the church choir.
Right.
Then he established Houston Chamber Choir, the professional group, and I was part of this group. And that was constant school for me. That was amazing. That was luck. Yeah.
Going back to your heritage, I guess you have a double last name, Parnas-Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
So Parnas
is my maiden name. I was before I married Robert, I was Marianna Parnas.
Parnas is also a mountain in Greek.
Yeah, Parnas is the mountain where, according to Greeks, myth, muses living, music lives there.
So talking about going back to heritage, does that somehow drive the choices of the music you want to sing or perform with your choir and learn and whatnot?
My parents were just wonderful musical people, both of them.
Okay.
They both sang in choir. There was a teacher's choir.
Oh.
They both sang in the teacher's choir, and I've heard that. So the singing ran in the family, and we sang together as a family. Sometimes we had a turntable, and my daddy would buy records, and music was in my home.
So what is one song, I guess, you would remember from the family singing? When your brother and your parents and you would sing?
We sang all kinds of songs, Yiddish songs, Romanian song. My parents grew up in Romania. They were fluent in this language, in Romanian language. Mostly folk songs and pop songs, but heartful songs.
Marianna, I noticed that you have included an old Russian carol song into your Christmas program.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about Shchedryk, Ukrainian folk song Shchedryk, which happened to be, it's an arrangement of Mykola Leontovich, who lived in 19th century, 19th, 20th century, and he arranged that, and it became very popular in the United States and in the world, and they changed the name Carol of the Bells, and it's all about bells ringing. And that although original song is about Shchedryk, the word that comes to people, to villagers, during the Svyatki, it's a period, Yuletide period. And this bird is a good omen for good luck, for having good crop for next year. And I've decided just to sing the original, which is the girls love. They sing in foreign languages all the time because that's another part of education, that they broaden their minds by singing music of different traditions. They sang in African, like Swahili, Igbo. They singing in Latin, in German. This current program, they sing Stravinsky, "Подблюдные песни," which is 4 peasant songs. And it's not just a foreign language, it's an archaic language, old language, and Stravinsky.
A few years ago, your choir got on the social media, and it was a viral video of the girls that are not Russian singing "Прекрасная далека."
Mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah, that it was.
It was like millions of views, I think. And how would you explain that?
I don't know. I don't know. We just put it on the tube. Somebody picked it up and put in different. So what happened after that? That was way before war. It was, and I got to read the comments of Russian people. This song was a like iconic song for a pop song for Russian people. It has to do with a movie, and a man was saying, I'm a middle-aged man. And I'm sitting here crying like a baby. I don't know why. It's so touching. Another one said, look at these American girls. They singing, they understand. So there are people there are friendly people in America. We could make friends with American people. That was after Crimea, where propaganda against United States
was very heavy.
Was very heavy, and people were all just brainwashed. A lot of human discussion. That's why I think everybody should sing in the choir. Music unites.
Music unites and connects.
Music unites.
I'll tell you, I'm a middle-aged man, and I was looking at the video, and it made me cry. I don't know why. I mean, there's something special about the song itself from the start, but I think the way they performed is very, very connecting.
I am trying to them to when they sing, trying to them to deliver a spirit of it. We always words. It's one of the music arts, the only one music art, singing, connection, extra connection, and you need to deliver the spirit of the text.
How do you do this? Do they understand the meaning of it?
Yeah, they must. They must. We talk about that. They have a translation, and I constantly reinforce that. They've got to do two things to make somebody feel the spirit. You need to deliver the spirit of the composer, the musical phrase, which is very tied up. I say the poem is married to the music, or music is married to it's a marriage. There is one doesn't go without the other. So musical phrase and a poem phrase, poetic phrase. Intention of these two got to be delivered. I deliver, they perceive, and we're working together. It's all this together.
You're probably on a mountain with those muses of the music. Mountain Parnas, and you're receiving all those cues from
I guess I like it this way
gods.
too. I like it with a lot of things. I've got a wonderful parent. I got a wonderful name, and I have to live up to my name.
Would you call yourself a happy woman, a happy person?
Yes. It doesn't mean that I cannot be sad or angry. Of course I can, but I love life, and I love people. And I love children, and I love music, these four. And so I'm lucky this way too.
You've told us about some terrible things you had to go through and find a way to earn money here and establish yourself. How did you keep that love to life and people?
I experienced love in my life early on.
Gave you the base.
I think that's my base, love. I lived in love, and I have beautiful things happening to me as a child, as a teenager. Has to do with love and this community that I was in.
I think. Thank you so much for sharing this love with your students, with your choir, with your community. You have such a sparkly and enthusiastic energy. It's just amazing to be just nearby. Thank you so much.
I
It's such a pleasure
appreciate.
meeting you.
I could say that to you. I love you,
so
and
much.
too. Thank you for.
so much. Bob, Marianna, it was such a pleasure talking to you today about your individual achievements and individual stories, which are amazing. We want to talk to you about your mutual story. That's something that you share together. You're a couple, and I think it's very rare to find two conductors working together very closely and being married to one another. How long you guys been married for?
31 and a half years.
Okay.
31 and a half years.
So you guys passed 30 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I guess your work here was for about 30 years too. So
That's right. That's right. We married the year after I came down here. We'd met in Atlanta already, but Marianna was completing education as a radiology technologist in Atlanta and finished before coming down.
Yeah.
is it difficult to be two conductors in one family?
Not in our family. First of all, we are not in competing field of conductors. I work with children, and Bob works with grown-ups.
And who got it harder? Children or the adults?
Are much harder.
That's what you say.
Adults can act like children too, and that's surprising.
What do you think? Do you think children are harder or adults are harder?
Children is what I love. I love them not because I want to make them singers. I love them because they're children. They are fascinating, funny. They're all geniuses. The younger they are, it's just so much fun. It's a lot more fun to me.
I think
to work with
that
children.
working with the youngest people is hard in that you are the first person to introduce them to the joy of making music. You are the one who opens that world to them. And if it's done well, then it's lifelong. If it's not done well, then they're turned off for life as well. So, and all those who work with kids as they grow up through high school and college and professional choirs all owe a great debt of gratitude to those who are working with young singers, as Marianna is, for awakening that lifelong love of music.
Beautiful, well said. What about, you guys are such a beautiful and happy couple. I mean, from the outside, it's just amazing to be around you. You have a wonderful energy. What is your secret? What is your secret in marriage, I guess, and partnership?
I'll let you go first.
No secrets to be shared.
No, as anyone knows, you cannot be happy-go-lucky all the time.
We are opposites who attracted.
We are opposites.
We are opposites.
Is that yin
I'm an
and yang?
introvert. Marianna's an extrovert. I'm tall, she's short, and I'm American, and she's Russian. There are very little common denominators except music, and that's what brought us together. Marianna, as you know, came to know me through the choir at St. Philip's Cathedral, and I think that common love of music and an understanding that nationalities really don't matter, backgrounds don't matter. When you find your soulmate, and surprisingly, from halfway around the world,
Right.
you found true love, and that's the way it's been for us.
Yes, and I believe, everybody, we have days and days, different days, but we care for each other deeply, and that's what keeps us together.
Like any couple that's been married for any length of time, hard work, forgiveness, understanding,
Forgiveness and understanding.
repeat.
Forgiveness and understanding. Would you say she's always right?
Many times.
Yeah.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yes. Wonderful. You guys are full of energy, and I believe you probably have some wonderful plans ahead of you. So, are you planning on anything interesting?
Well, I'm going to take a little bit of a detour. I love making music, but I'm going to get more involved in American politics at the moment.
Interesting.
I enjoyed politics a lot as as a college student. I was a child of the 60s, and so I was there for the Vietnam War and for the protests that led to the resignation of President Johnson. And there was a brief period of time when I thought maybe that I would go to law school and then maybe become part of the diplomatic service or State Department. But I am not happy with the way things are going in the United States at the moment, and I want to play a part, and a small part at this point. Obviously, I'm too poor and too old to run for office, but I don't like the sounds I'm hearing about the upcoming elections, and so I've volunteered as a poll watcher, and I'm going to do what I can to support the candidates I think who are going to set the United States back on the right course. So I'm going to get politically active.
That's very wonderful. Thank you so much for your service, and good luck in that.
And I'm going to continue with Treble Choir. I'm not ready to totally, but Bob and I are planning on traveling a lot. And I want to go to distant lands like Australia,
Okay.
Galapagos Island.
Oh, that's one of the many people's favorite. Are you planning any performances outside of Houston or
We are
US?
just going to New Mexico in 2 weeks to perform at the Treble Choir. And so we are bringing this program with Stravinsky and to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I'm very excited about that. We have a spring concert that's coming up after that in May, and Bob has a celebration at Christ Church Cathedral, and we will be part of it too in May. So we have a couple of wonderful ones.
Tell us more about that celebration.
Well, it will be similar to the celebration I had for the chamber choir. I've been here even longer than I was with the chamber choir, and there are a lot of people who are sorry that I'm leaving, I'm happy to say. I didn't overstay my welcome. So there'll be a celebration and a final concert. And then, as I did with the chamber choir, I'm going to finish with a tour. The cathedral choir will be going to England and France. And so our last concert will be in Paris. And who could ask for more? We'll celebrate there, and then the choir will head back home, and Marianna and I will go to Norway and spend about 10 days visiting friends and seeing that beautiful country.
Lovely plans, lovely plans. I hope you guys enjoy your travels and performances and all the things that you planned or thinking about to achieve in the near future. One of the questions we're asking all our guests is, who are those people who would enjoy living in Texas? Who's enjoying living in Texas? По-русски, кому на Техасщине жить хорошо?
If you're talking about the weather, or you're talking about life?
Yes, all of that.
When we came to Houston 30 plus years ago, we didn't think we're going to stay here more than a couple of years. It turned out over 30 years. And what kept us here is our music life, our profession. It's very vibrant artistically city. And we were very happy with what we're doing. We still have friends, we have art scene, and that's what we like about Houston. I don't like weather, and I don't like summer, and I want to get out of here when it's 100 degrees, but I don't know if we will.
Yeah, I know. I think the weather is certainly something that people have to consider, but I've always said you don't have to shovel heat. So for those that are used to shoveling snow in the northwest and the central states, you can escape the heat by getting into your air-conditioned office. But the thing that was surprising to me as a person who really still thinks of himself as a New Yorker, I've been here for 30 years, but I'm still visiting in a way because there's an element to living in Texas. There's a pride, a certain heritage that I really admire, but I can't be a part of. I grew up in New Jersey, and I never saw a bumper sticker there that said I wasn't born here, but I got here as fast as I could. But that is a bumper sticker in Texas. And I think that Houston has a lot of the advantages of capitals around the world, but it's very livable. It's easy to get around. Yes, there's traffic, but there's traffic everywhere. But you can find beautiful homes at a more reasonable cost. You can get down and around in a way that a lot of cities don't provide you with, and the cultural and other amusement arts, and Herman Park, and the beauty that the city provides, I think, is quite unique in many ways. And so coming to Texas is a wonderful surprise, and it was for us.
It was for me too. Well, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you for your time.